Hello, and welcome to my interview with Katerina Perez. 400,000 people can't be wrong. We know Katerina, and I'm sure those of you here do, as the foremost authority and insider and blogger with 400,000 followers on Instagram and a website with content for days. Katerina and I go back more than 7 years to when I met her when she was pregnant with her son Alexander, who's now 7. And it was just after she launched her website in 2011, she began as a freelance journalist in 2011 and launched her website then in 2013. And recently, after traversing and becoming the spearhead of a sea change that brought high jewelry onto the internet and Instagram, she was awarded the Influencer of the Year for Jewellery in 2021. And today, I have the pleasure of sitting down and asking her the inside and behind the scenes of the foremost authority on the Instagram. And now, please welcome Katerina Perez.
Thank you. Thank everyone for coming here. Pleasure to have you.
It is such an occasion to have 10-year anniversary happening today, and I'm so honored to be asking you the questions. Some of them I don't know the answers to. And Katerina certainly doesn't know the questions or the answers, so this is going to be a surprise for everyone. And I'm going to get stuck right in.
All right.
You are offering up an amazing original photography, content, expertise, experience, opinions, but everybody can see it for free online. How do you make a living?
Good question, right? This is what everyone wants to know. How do bloggers make a living? Well, I come from a background of retail management and also writing for print magazine. And how do print magazines make money? They charge for advertisement because creating content is a big job. And in my team, there is 10 people who help me run KaterinaPerez.com, website, social media, newsletter. So of course, there's channels like advertisement. There is personal appearances. There is courses. So I have a few courses for jewelers, how to sell jewelry on Instagram, and also how to create content for jewelers for Instagram, which is a paid course. There's things like consultancy, because my expertise goes beyond taking pictures for Instagram. I've been in retail for many years. I've garnered experience in sales and management, in events, in communications, and branding. So my expertise is there to be shared.
So it's multiple income streams that you're managing and supporting. This is a businesswoman to be reckoned with, right? 10 people in your business. On Instagram, a part of everybody's job is showing all these beautiful things at Katerina Perez, and everything looks wonderful. But I'm sure that you might be able to tell us about something terrible and challenging that happened along the way.
Well, I guess one big thing that was challenging that happened on the way is becoming a mother. And I call what I've created my first baby because it really is a big part of me. I never really thought that I'll be some famous blogger. It was never the purpose. It was always about passion and to share this passion with everyone out there. So I think it was like 3 years after I started KaterinaPerez.com that I gave birth. And then, do we have any mothers here? Raise your hand if you're a parent. You know how life changes after you give birth, right? Like you suddenly have to manage so many things. So I guess this was one of the biggest challenges. But then challenges are always on the way because, frankly, in blogging, no one really tells you what to do and how to do things, especially not when I started 10 years ago. I call myself one of the dinosaurs, from of blogging because there was only 3 of us at the time. And you have to constantly learn and adapt and learn through trial and error, and you can never slow down because Instagram, everything online is so fast changing. The atmosphere we live in, the environment is so fast changing. Jewelry as an industry grows continuously. So if you slow down, if you stop developing yourself, developing your skills, trying new things, you're going to stay behind. So I guess the challenge is constant learning, growing. For me, I was never really a business person. I'm a creative person. I had to learn on the way within these 10 years if I wanted to stay relevant, if I wanted to make it a business, if I wanted to grow as a self-growth with personality, right? I had to learn things on the way. So this is what I've been doing for quite a few years, and this is what I always do. There's so many things to learn out there. and finding time for all this.
Yes,
This is
yes,
the
as
biggest
well as
challenge.
being a mother.
Yeah.
So something you said in there really sparked a thought, which is, were you an avid consumer on Instagram before you began? And was Instagram the beginning or the website the beginning? Or
So because I was writing for print before I started what I'm doing, I wanted to talk to everyone out there, so I started with the website. You know, I was writing articles, publishing them on WordPress. My husband helped me to set it up because I had no idea how to do it technically. So thanks to him, I'm here. And I remember I was working at a retail store then. And one of my colleagues told me, "Are you using Instagram?" And I was like, "What? What is Instagram?" There's like, "Well, this is this app to share pictures. Like, why don't you install it and try it?" I'm like, "Okay, let's try." So now I have around 6,000 photos on my Instagram. So for the purpose of this talk, I went back for I don't know how many hours scrolling back to see what are the first pictures I posted. And actually one of those pictures is my niece with my piece of jewelry just playing. So there were some pictures from the store I was working at the time. So it was not really relevant to what I do now, but you know, we all have to start. And then if you like the tool you're using, you might get a great result out of it. So.
you know, there's a picture that I'd love to show,
Okay.
if I may. This is very, very fun. Okay, let's see if we can move forward one.
This is the answer to when people ask me, where does the love for jewelry come from? I was born with this. On one side, there is me and my mom. Look how I'm grabbing her necklace. So since then, maybe I'm 1 year old. In the second one, I'm 3 years old. And this is my grandmother's jewelry. And actually, this was my favorite thing to do, is to raid her jewelry box, try her jewelry on. And you know, in the kid's eye, it's true marvel. Because this is not precious jewelry. This is some fashion pieces. And it's nothing special. But in the kid's eye, this is true treasure because it sparkles, because it has different colors, especially when you try it on, you can see different dimensions, you can really feel the jewelry. And what do I do now? I'm doing what I've probably meant to do, you know, somehow through the years, I came back to what was there for me from the beginning.
When I first saw this picture, I was just gobsmacked by how the title of this talk had to be turning your passion from such a young age into a profession. Absolutely. Now, a day at the office to many people means rocking up to a desk, sitting down, pushing keys all day and leaving. What is a typical day in the life of Katerina Perez?
I don't think there is such a thing as a typical day. Well, not just as a blogger, but as a person who runs the company, there is typical day, of course, in the office when you have to be an octopus, multitask constantly. Talking to my team, planning for the future, negotiating all these Zooms with the clients, strategizing, of course, creating content and creating written and visual content editing. In my job, I've learned so much because it's so multifaceted. From sales, I came to be a writer, photographer, editor, both in language and also in editing photos, strategizing, even things like how do you increase your productivity and what tools you can use there for business to make your workflows faster and smoother. And there's so much out there. So, but for me, the work day in the office is calls, Zooms, computer work, emails, not so much different from everyone else.
And how much of your month, any given month, is spent creating versus managing the business in the office?
I'd say that maybe half. Because content creation actually is a big job, especially if you're a perfectionist and you want that video to be perfect, that photo to be perfect. Normally, it takes quite a while. I'd say, for example, if I'm at an exhibition and I want to film, I don't know, 2-3 videos, sometimes it might take half an hour to just be happy with one little video, which in the end will be 15 seconds or maybe 20 seconds. Because you have to set the light. I have my Ksenia, my photographer here. Hi, darling. Have to set the light. You have to build the composition. You have to film it, make sure that light don't flicker. You have to make sure your manicure is perfect. You have to make sure that you show the jewelry in the right way with the right angles and you show the details. First, you have to understand what is this you want to show, actually. Then, based on the jewel, you want to understand, is it going to be a fun reel? Is it going to be more something in detail and serious and conservative? So there is so much that goes on in the blogger's mind when they create content that, of course, this is the one of the biggest tasks. How do you see this jewelry and how do you show it creatively, but at the same time you don't devalue it? Because you see, when we follow TikTok or Instagram, so many videos are this funky, funny, a bit comical, and this is what people want out there, but with jewelry is different. It's how do you take this high-end, expensive product and still make it relevant to the audience online?
And when you first began, I mean, we've all probably seen Katerina and her crew of a few ladies walking around developing content in front of our eyes. But when you started, was it just you and your iPhone?
Yeah. When I started, there was just me. No, actually, hold on. So when I started, I was mostly writing, right? So it was myself, my assistant, who helped me to make layouts on the website, because that's a separate part of the job. It's when you photograph, when you write, and then you have to create a beautiful feature online. That's another job. And I had a translator, because my website used to be bilingual. So now it's only in English. So at that time, I was on my own, and I was learning how do I take photos, how do I use Instagram, how do I interact with the audience. Social media was very different then. Consuming information online was very different then. It was much easier, actually. Because before, I don't know, guys, who's been using Instagram for 5-7 years? Raise your hand. Remember, there was picture, comment, and DM. That's it. Then there is carousel of pictures appeared, then there was stories, then there's reels, and now those who use Instagram, it's like one up, but actually it's 5 in 1. So it's a different job. So yeah, I was on my own. I was trying to find my feet. I was trying to understand what is this the audience wants to see, because for me, it's not just about what I like. It's also I want to bring something that excites you guys. And how do you even do this? Because I had to improve my skill. I had to invest, and I constantly invest in equipment. And I try to learn what is this out there to have better sound in the video, to have better picture, to have better sharpness. What is this apps you can use to create an interesting effect in reel or something like this, because this is what the audience wants. Right?
And then at some point, did you switch to using professional photographers only?
So I've met my photographer. Yes, I've been using a professional photographer for about 7 years. And I've met him from a friend who is a jeweler. And when I saw the quality of picture you can get with a professional photographer, I'm like, right, that's it. Because when you show fine jewelry online or high jewelry online, it has value. You understand how many hours and days and months and years sometimes to create a piece of jewelry. So when we talk about precious jewelry, I just don't feel it's enough to take a quick iPhone picture. I wanted the quality, and I think it's also in my blood. I'm a very quality-driven person, and I like when things are beautiful and elegantly offered there online. So I worked with the photographer then, and I still work with the professional photographer, but I also learned how to do it myself. Because sometimes I have my own vision, and I think this is what also attracts the audience that I have, is that I have my own vision. I have my own way to take pictures or videos, and this is also speaks to people, maybe the way, I don't know, I move my hands, or maybe the way I dress to match the jewel, or maybe it's the pace of speed as well. I hear a lot that people say nowadays, because reels are so fast, you can't see the details of the jewel, but you still manage to somehow slow down. We can see the beauty of the piece. So, these kind of things.
So to recap, you have the website. You begin using Instagram as well. When was the moment when was there one moment, or was it gradual, when you went, oh my, this is really skyrocketing?
I think what I like in life, when things grow, but slowly and steadily. I don't think there wasn't a time when there was a big jump. Frankly, before, 7 years ago, there was a different pace of growth on Instagram. You would get, I remember the times when there was 500 followers a day. This is the pace of the growth was then.
Oh my God.
Because at some point, I think 2000, when Facebook bought Instagram, right, the algorithm have changed. And suddenly in the Explore section, you can see not just the most popular accounts, but you would see accounts which are relevant to you. And suddenly imagine all these jewelry lovers, thanks to this algorithm, discovered that I exist. And of course, the pace of growth was immense. Now it's not comparable at all. It's completely different. But I think maybe, that time, what is it, 2012, 13? I don't remember when Facebook bought Instagram, but at that time.
And then the pace of growth then would slow because of the new...
It slowed down now, but still, growth is steady. And for me, this is the most important thing. Like, I'm not driven by numbers, I'm driven by the quality of my audience. And I always say that for me, what's important is to have jewelry lovers, this community of fans of jewelry who I want to talk about all things precious, and I don't feel weird because I always talk about jewelry. And I go beyond that. I reply to all the comments, because for me, if someone wants to talk to me, I can't ignore that person. You know, I have to say hi or emoji or something else to show appreciation. Thank you for interacting. And yeah, it's important to exchange the good energy and to share this passion.
Mm-hmm. So did I hear that correctly? You still respond to all the comments yourself?
Pretty much. So if it's an emoji, so again, coming back to the pace of work, coming back to being a businesswoman, a mother, and a very busy person, I reply to all the comments apart from emoji, okay? For that, I do not have time. But all meaningful comments, all the DMs, because it's such a personal journey. Like, I have a team who also helps to manage Instagram, but mostly on more kind of operational side, planning, making sure that posts come out on time. But when it comes to talk to my audience, like, it has to be me.
It has to be.
Because it's a relationship. For me, it's a relationship with either a person who advertises with me, or with the audience, or just with somebody who comes for advice. And I think this is also one of my favorite things about Instagram, is to be able to connect with the world out there. Mm-hmm. Because this is what it came from. This is where it started. I wanted to talk about jewelry, and I wanted to educate about jewelry, mm-hmm. the whole world. Mm-hmm. And I achieved that, and I can't give this up. My mission is to spread the word about jewelry, to inspire women to wear jewelry, to make them fall in love with jewelry, understand it, and like myself, enjoy every day, not to wait for a special occasion to wear it. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So,
now, in that answer, you mentioned that the numbers are not important. The mission to have everyone understand that jewelry is an art, not just a piece to express yourself, but exactly. a work of art that you can fall in love with. But is there an aspect of your business or a person on your team that is watching those numbers, those analytics? Like,
of course. Now, guys, I mean, if you run a business, you know that numbers is everything, right? You have to understand how your business grows. You have to understand, in my case, what kind of post gets more likes and why, because I try to analyze what content I create and what kind of response it gets, because this is how I understand what you guys like more. And maybe there is the speed of the video, which worked really well, or maybe the colors or the light or the composition. And after analyzing this all, actually one thing, we have like a yearly big meeting, and we realized that nowadays on Instagram, the majority of top posts are the ones with the plain background, which I didn't realize until I've done that analytics. So I have somebody in my team who does the analytical work for Instagram and for the website. Yeah.
Got it. So you're listening to the numbers, but you're not obsessing over them personally. You're focused on the mission.
Yeah, in terms of numbers, I mean, for me, it doesn't matter how many followers I have. It's important that they're quality ones. So throughout my work, it was always, there was a trend before, okay, when you buy followers because you want to impress everybody. And I never did that because it wasn't the goal, right? Why would I have, I don't know, million, 2 million, 3 million followers when it's just a number, when they don't talk to me, when they don't share my passion, when they don't come to this talk, when they don't tell me, oh, Katerina, thank you for all your work. Thanks to you, we started doing a gemology course or a design course, or they want to consult with me and then I can help someone build a brand. You know, this is what I need. Mm-hmm. This is the joy of work, not just say, oh, I have so many followers.
Right, right. Yeah. And so after it started taking off and you were doing all of these jobs yourself, bit by bit, you brought in professionals to do certain aspects of the job, I understand. Yes. But when you were doing it all, or even now, what was your favorite part of it? Like, did you love editing the photos, or did you just love talking to the followers? What's your favorite part?
To be honest, everything. Yeah. And this is, so, okay, because this is such a personal journey, and all these things I adore. Mm-hmm. For me, I think one of the biggest struggles in my work was how do I let it go and make my team take the work off my hands? Because I love writing. Okay, so it all started with writing because I love to write about jewelry. And when I was working in retail, my clients used to tell me, we love your emails when you send us information about jewelry. And this is how I started writing, actually. So writing is a big joy. Photographing and thinking of ideas and editing, because then you see the result and how you can work with the photo or with the video. Engaging with the audience, talking about jewelry, thinking of different ways of communicating about jewelry, but also business. You know, for me, building a business is a very interesting part because, again, this is not something I was taught to do or I learned step by trial and error. And to try something and to see the result, this is very rewarding. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so everything is what you like. What's the most important part of what you do personally in the team of 10?
Nowadays, I think it's being the creative visionary, coming up with the ideas, curating everything, being the face of what I do. And I think this is what's going forward going to be there, coming up with the ideas. Where is KaterinaPerez.com going? And when it comes to writing, so it's, again, my team also does that, but the majority of ideas come from me because when I'm at an exhibition, when I'm going to see a jeweler, when I talk to people, this is where the inspiration comes from. Because you learn so much, and suddenly someone says something, you're like, oh my God, I need to discuss this subject. I need to talk about the subject to everyone because it's so interesting. Everyone needs to know that. So yeah, I think still creativity is my favorite part.
Okay. And talk to me a little bit about the courses. You have courses. What is it that you're teaching? Are you teaching people how to be Katerina Perez, or what are you teaching people? Talk to me a bit about the courses.
Okay. Well, actually, it's relevant because the next course is coming up soon. So remember, everyone, this horrible time, COVID, right, when it hits. And everyone is at home, and we're like, what do we do now? We can't travel to exhibitions.
No trade shows to go to.
People came to me and said, you'll be fine because you're online, so everyone will want to advertise. But actually, no. No one wanted to do anything because no one knew what is going on and what's the next step. So everyone experienced really hard time. And for me, I'm an Instagram geek, as I call it. I love this platform, and I'm a little bit geeky. I like learning all the tricks and things to do technically, visually, and all these kind of things. And I always follow what's there out, what's coming out, what's updates, what courses are out there. I've been to many courses myself in the past because I want to improve my Instagram constantly. And when we were all in COVID, I'm like, there's wealth of knowledge I have, and I have so many people who can benefit from it. I can't be selfish and keep it all to myself, so why don't I share all this? Because for me, sharing knowledge is one of the favorite things on my work as well. So I've built this course, How to Sell Jewelry on Instagram, because actually it's not my direct job, but it's a part also of what being a blogger is like, that you get requests, that you connect with people, you know how to go through sales, and also because I was a salesperson, I can't disconnect from that completely. So I've built the structure, about 13 lessons, how to manage Instagram, how to understand the psychology of selling, why people buy on Instagram. So all this knowledge I've packed into this online course where people can log in and just watch online videos and learn from that. And I've had quite a few people joining that, and it's been very successful. They ask for more. So the next step was from the course when people were talking to me, because there was a chat room as well. So understanding the needs of those who learn, I've created this new course, how to create content, right? Or what content to create, because one of the most widespread questions for me is like, what do we do? How do we talk about jewelry? This jewelry is of this style. How do we communicate about it? So this is the next step. And then the last course, which I'm preparing now, is about reels. Because this is like a completely different ball game, reels, okay? The way they work, the way you film, the psychology behind them, as I said, how do you show jewelry in an elegant way? How do you come up with the ideas? What effects are out there? Which applications and all this? So again, maybe I was a teacher in the past life.
Yeah.
This is something I really enjoy.
Because you went from the love of jewelry to the expert in jewelry to now the expert on this platform. And so you're also disseminating that knowledge.
Well, yeah, and this is a part of my consultancy service about social media, how to build a strategy on social media and how to make it work.
Okay, so out of all of these things, what's the most important thing you've learned over the decade? What's the most important thing you've learned?
The most important thing I've learned, I think, the importance of relationship. Because everything we do, the importance of relationship and sharing your passion, because there's so much that's built on emotions in the jewelry field. As I said, for me, my work, I don't see it as a transaction. We talked about how do I make money, but it's the final result, it's not the goal. It's about building relationship with the followers, with clients, with those who love jewelry, with those who need advice. It's about creativity as well. So how do you become even more creative? Self-development, many things actually.
So money is the reward, not the goal.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I say, when you do something well, people want to support you. You know, I don't really like to talk about collaboration the first time I meet a person or a brand. For me, it's to get to know them, to understand them, and then we like each other, I like their designs, they like the way I talk about jewelry, and then they come and say, "Oh, can we work together?" So.
Okay, I see. So you see all these beautiful collections, these beautiful stones, these beautiful components. Have you ever thought, I want to design a jewelry collection?
Do you know what? This is one of the most asked questions. Like,
Really?
when are you going to
I thought
design?
I was so unique with this question.
But frankly, I don't think it's my place. You see, I love writing, I love photographing, I love creating, coming up with the ideas, but design. So part of the things also I do, if a designer comes to me with a ready collection, I can help to fine-tune it. Because obviously my view on jewelry is very global. I've visited so many exhibitions, I've met so many people, I instantly can see, does it look similar to someone else's? Is it going to fit certain market? So from a consultancy perspective, I do that. But to create something of my own, I don't think I'll be good at it. And I don't think I want it. Honestly,
It's not for you.
no.
Have you ever worked with a designer to custom design a piece from a vision that you have, or just for yourself, or something to satisfy?
For friends and family, I've done some designs because they're like, "Oh, we want something from you." But as I said, I don't think I'll be a designer.
Got it, got it. So out of all these skills, you are a multi-hyphenate. You know, what we see on Instagram is just the very, very tip of the iceberg. Is there a new skill that you're working on mastering now?
I think a new skill, how to speed up, how to function. It's more self-development now. You know, it's been 10 years. Within 10 years, I've given my all to my family and to my work. And I think this year, I'm coming up to this big anniversary. I have another big personal anniversary. And I thought, how about me now? Now, I want to be able to be healthy, happy, and I want to give love to myself back. So I think this is my new skill, how to be able to manage a business, how to be able to be a mother, but also how to remember about you as a person, how to give yourself time to develop yourself, how to give yourself time to do sports, to eat well, to have time to rest as well. Because frankly, you know, this job is so demanding. When we travel especially, sometimes we fly into the exhibition, we have to go to work next day. We're at the exhibition all day, because in the morning you have a breakfast meeting, then you're at the exhibition creating content, then you have a dinner. You come back to the hotel, you sleep for like 6 hours, then next day continues. It's like that. Many people see jewelry blogging as something glamorous. We'll go to all these events and we just like chill and I don't know. But in reality, it's so demanding, because then you come back from all these trips, you have to analyze this content, create content, edit everything, prepare written and visual content. You have to, for me, because also, you see, it's not just Instagram, it's writing. Writing is such a big job as well. You know, to write one article, it takes 4 or 5 hours of a day, right? So, yeah, it's a lot that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear the articles take 4 or 5 hours in the day, because you make it look so easy from the outside. So it's nice to hear that that takes time. Do you envision a progression to dominating on any other platforms, you know, as TikTok rises and other things?
Yeah.
Or does your focus remain on Instagram?
Look, TikTok is the next best thing, but I'm not sure if it's suitable for jewelry, or not at least for the kind of jewelry I show. And plus, I prefer elegant way of talking about jewelry than fun and, I don't know, dancing and being maybe like more fun personality rather than someone more.
Because you're very serious and not fun at all.
No, I can be fun, but I'm not sure yet. I mean, we've watched probably the Van Cleef went on TikTok. Who else went? Some big brands went on TikTok. The algorithm works better, so you do get more following there. But it all depends on, will you be able to create that one video which will make your following balloon or not. Probably I will launch TikTok this year, but I'm working on something else on Instagram.
You heard it here first, so I got the information out of her. Bigger question.
Okay.
What is one goal that you're determined to achieve in your lifetime?
I think to leave some kind of legacy after me. It's important, you know, through sharing the knowledge and through inspiring others. When I'm 50, 60, 70, whatever, and I sit there and I know that there is this person who went to do a jewelry course because of me, or there is this person who acquired a ring because they saw something on my Instagram and they love it so much, or there is another person who does gemology or anything else, the way I inspire people. This is the key. you know, to feel like I've done good to this industry and to feel that I've left a mark and that I'm doing this for everyone who appreciates it. So this is what drives me, actually.
And as a follow-on to that, does your 7-year-old son see Instagram? Does he know what mommy does?
He knows the filters. This is one of the things that we do, you know. He likes to try all these Pet Patrol, or what is it, all these cartoon filters, and the cats and dogs and
Tomato face.
But that's the only thing he knows. But he does know gemstones, and he does like my collection of minerals. And yeah, his eyes also sparkle when he sees jewelry. And actually, for his school, I did this little class where I bought these kits from National Geographic, so where you can dig for stones. And I got them for all the kids, and they were digging, trying to unearth those 3 gemstones. And you should have seen their faces. You know, they were so happy and they were so excited about it. So, yeah, it was a fun activity.
That's fantastic. So before we sat down to have this conversation, the team prepared some questions from exhibitors. And my hope is to also leave some time at the end so that we can take some questions from the audience if you have any. So let's see if we can move this forward one and we can let the exhibitors ask their questions. There we go.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay, Anne-Marie Lafleche. She says, do you have standards in selecting the brands you collaborate with, or you give everyone the same opportunity?
So for me, the way I select jewelry is first I need to see what is the brand that creates. If my heart beats faster, I'm gonna show them.
That's
if not, it's about the emotion. If I don't feel anything, then no. But if it excites me, then I'm going to show it to my audience. I'm going to share it. Because you see, I'm not a writer by profession. I'm a writer by passion. So if I don't feel the emotions, if I'm not excited, like, my audience won't feel it. And one of the things that I get told a lot is that we can feel your passion, and this is what I want to continue. Like, I want to spread across.
You can smell inauthenticity miles away. It's true.
But also, you see, I'm quite meticulous with learning about the brand, because if I feel that there is a lot of passion behind what the person creates, that's another thing that triggers me. It's, I love stories. I like to see how a designer translates their personality into jewelry they create. So yeah, it plays a big role into me selecting what I'm going to show.
Okay, and if a brand begs you, please, do you acquiesce?
I'm honest, you know, I'm being Russian, I'm very direct and honest. If it doesn't suit what I do, because I do get approached, of course, by companies who create silver or more commercial designs, but I just know that my audience will not respond to this, and I don't feel passionate about this, and I'm just going to say it, you know, I'm really sorry, it's not really what my audience would like, and I would love to work with you, but why would I want to post something which I know will not work for my audience, will not give you any results? It's not a win-win situation.
Okay. Do you perceive a gap in terms of communication, image, and digitalization between the fashion and the jewelry world?
Well, certainly I feel there has been a gap, because I think photography and videos for fashion has been there for a while, including experimenting how you talk about fashion, being very creative. For jewelry, for a while, it's been more conservative. Now, thanks to social media, also jewelry becomes more experimental, more edgy. But if we go back 10 years ago when Instagram just started appearing, when there wasn't so much online, I think that the advertisement we'd see in magazines was more beautiful lady in a beautiful jewelry suite and very classical and traditional, and in a gown. So now it's changing. Yeah.
Okay.
So this gap becomes smaller.
It's getting smaller.
Yeah. Do you agree, guys? Do you agree that nowadays jewelry is becoming more I don't know, adventurous or more original in terms of advertisement, in terms of photography and videography? Raise your hand if you agree.
Good. We're catching up. We're catching up with the help of leaders like you. Was there a time that you almost gave up? Was there ever a doubt in your mind? And how afraid are you to lose the status that you have, which is quite formidable?
Yeah. Well, you know about my time of almost giving up. Okay. So, of course, you know, building a business is a hard task, and especially when you don't have any guidance. So being one of the first, I did not know how to do this. I just worked out of passion, and I just tried to find my feet on the ground and understand what is this that I want to do. And I think it was 3 years after starting my business. that I went to the couture show then. It was just, again, working myself and 2 people on the team. And I was so overworked and I was so exhausted. And I'm like, coming back from the show, I couldn't write anymore. So, have you guys ever had burnout? I think I had that burnout then, 3 years ago. And I understood that it's either I'm going to give it up because I can't do this anymore, or I'm going to find help. I'm going to get someone on board, more people in my team, because there was no other way around. But just as a bit of a background, so nowadays blogging is very known profession, right? So when a new person comes to the blog, they want to charge, brands for advertisement. At my time, it wasn't the case. Blogging was a recreational purpose. You just do it at your free time. So for the first 2 years, I was working in retail to be able to sponsor my passion, okay? And by proving that I'm worth something, by doing this job with heart and soul and skill as well, I've managed to achieve a level when I went freelance, when I stopped working in retail, brands said, actually, yes, we would like to support you because we like what you do. And this is how I managed to pull through, and this is how I managed to have some kind of budget to be able to live a daily life. Now, at that time, I just literally started for 8 months doing this, and of course, I had a little bit in the kitty, but not much. And I knew, so it's either I have to take this decision and come to Elle, who is the business advisor. She's super skilled. She's one of the most intelligent women I met in my life. It's either I come to her and I ask her for business advice, because I'm a creative person. I had no clue. At that time, I had no clue how to do business. And you saved my business.
Oh, stop.
No, honestly, at that time, you consulted me. You gave me the tools. And one of the most important things you told me, actually, you do work more than everyone else, but you charge only half of everyone else. And at that time, I was charging like nothing.
Not enough.
Yeah, not that I charge millions now, come on,
No.
I'm very fair with what I ask brands to sponsor me. But at that time, I put my prices double. I haven't lost a single client. I was shocked, but actually, it was a good proof that I'm doing something right. And thanks to that, I was able to hire someone in my team, and I had a first full-time employee who actually gave me opportunity to not have another burnout, to work with the right pace, to be able to manage it all, and eventually to have a baby as well.
It can be challenging to charge your worth. I think everybody's probably been through that at some point, even in a negotiation with an employer. It's a challenging thing. So congratulations on that. You have so many. Did I click it forward and miss a question?
No, I think this is next
Okay. In a market oversaturated with endless influencers now, I mean, they have all, I think there were only 3 of you when you started, because I used you when I owned a retail shop because you were the best, and you still are. Now it's saturated. How do you manage to stay relevant? This kind of is the second half of the last question. You are at the pinnacle. You are at the spearhead. How do you manage to stay there? Do you even think about that? Or are you just very focused on the North Star, the mission of your business?
I think for me, what drives me is the mission. To show jewelry to the world out there and to inspire women to wear jewelry. But also, I think for me, it's the way of express my creativity. And I think in terms of creativity, I'm probably the only crazy one to do the editorial shoots to mix different media in one. For example, illustration and jewelry, creative photography and jewelry, even fashion and jewelry. I'm wearing this dress from Makova, a jewelry designer who also branched into clothes. So this is different pearls here. So you have to be yourself, and like here, how do you stay relevant, or how do you maybe stand out from others? You have to be you. And some people like me for my personality, maybe, not necessarily for the jewelry I show, or for the way I talk about jewelry, and for the passion that we share together, and for that touch of creativity as well. I'm not scared to try different things with jewelry. And when I started, jewelry was very conservative, a piece for a private collection, for a museum, and I'm like, I want to talk about it online. Why don't I take it and show it to the whole world? And this is why in the beginning there was so much struggle to prove that it's worth something, because brands couldn't understand. Why do you want to come for the viewing? And why do you want to show this jewelry on Instagram? What is Instagram? And write about it online? That was a big question. For 2 years, I had to prove that it's worth it. And I was too early for my time, to show that it means something. But actually, this persistence, and if it wasn't for passion, I wouldn't be there, right? With the burnout, with all the obstacles I had to face. But because it was such a personal passion, you see, I'm here, so 10 years now.
So you're still here, yes, because of the passion. Now let's look forward. Where do you see it going? Like, what is What is the future for not only Katerina Perez, but also for the influencer community?
Good question. I haven't brought my crystal ball with me, so it's very difficult to say what's going to be in the future. But I think there must be some new platforms coming out for communication soon, because it's not just me. It's a lot of us who are really suffering from Instagram algorithm, which is not performing so well. There's lots of us looking for new ways to communicate with our clients, and we're finding those ways. There is lots of sales happening now on Zoom, WhatsApp, and so on, and I think people are hungry for what's next. But I think if we talk about next year, I think I can do this for the next 10 years. But also, I think I would love to go more into education, because again, building all the knowledge has to have a purpose, and not just for me, but for everyone out there. So the more I can share it through talks, through my lessons, through one-to-one consultations, the more I feel like I've achieved, I have a purpose here and I've achieved it.
Okay, let's see. I think there may be. The changes in the field of social media are very fast-moving. How do you deal with this, and how do you see the world of social media in 5 years?
Frankly, I don't think it will change drastically, because I think we're all trying to constantly catch up with what's happening on Instagram, on TikTok, and so on, and we're not always succeeding in this. So I think next 5 years will be dedicated still to these two platforms. And plus, they're so visual that jewelry is a very, very visual product, so they're the best now. But how to stay relevant? I think it's to, again, constantly educate yourself, to see what's trending, to try ways that Instagram or other social media offers you to work with this, to see what others are doing, and not necessarily in jewelry field, but also to stay updated on. Maybe you have like favorite bloggers, or not bloggers, or brands from fashion or from beauty, and you see how they manage their Instagram. One of the most important things, not just now, but actually on social media, is to have personal brand too. I think this is one of the reasons why I'm here, and I've done this for 10 years, and why I have this wonderful audience here, is because I've put my name on this. This is my personal journey, and I put myself out there. I didn't call it a jewelry blog. People know who's behind this, and appreciate the knowledge and the expertise and the way I talk about jewelry. So if you want to stay relevant on social media, you have to show yourself. People want to connect with other people. If we talk about brands, people want to buy from other people. People want to see expertise of another person, not a soulless account. So this is not so strong on social media anymore.
I'm going to interject a question here. Do you think that is a challenge of the Maisons, for example, that it's not Suzanne Calan or the designer who has their name on the product, but it's a big house? Does it make it challenging for them to have people align with them?
Yes and no, because if it's a big brand with the name, lots of people would want to own the jewelry of that brand because of its status symbol. It's not going to be an emotional purchase. Probably it will be more like I belong to the club of this, Cartier love bracelets or something like this. So for big brands that don't really, not that they don't really work so much on their faces behind the company, but it's fine for them. But if you're a smaller designer, if you're a smaller brand, it will be very beneficial if you have some kind of personality behind it. And if you're too shy, or if you, for some security reasons, you don't want to show yourself, you can share some pictures where, I don't know, you show your hands when you select diamonds or gemstones, or you can show another person, another person who is important to this brand, maybe a brand ambassador, maybe a celebrity, maybe it's friends of the brand. Why not? But there has to be a face of somebody.
People do business with people, right?
Exactly.
Let's see, I think there might be one more.
Actually, I'm going to ask you guys, do you feel more connected with Instagram accounts which have a personality behind it?
That's a majority.
Still half, yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah. Well, more than half.
There's a few over there. Okay, when you first started your business, what was it that captured your attention in a brand that made you say, this is a brand I need to work with? I think
it's always been the same. It's always been the same. I don't think it will ever change.
Okay. The website has so much on here. Maria says, why is it important for you to create great content on the website too when you have 400,000 people on Instagram?
Actually, hold on. You're talking about this. I want to go back to the previous question.
Oh, go. Okay.
Because emotions, of course, is the first trigger. But also, I get asked this a lot, so I want to answer this. How do you see jewelry, right? It's about artistry. the originality of the idea. It's about craftsmanship because I'm the one who will scrutinize that piece of jewelry from the back and front and all the angles. It's about harmony in the design. If we're looking about the butterfly, I want the wings to be in proportion with the body and so on. I look at colors. I like it when colors go together. I want sometimes contrast. I like it when the jewelry has some unusual techniques because this is what's very intriguing to see how you can use, I don't know, titanium, aluminum, or copper or other unusual materials in the design. And again, how does the designer express themselves through jewelry?
Got it.
So I want to see a bit of their soul and what they create.
Okay. Did we already?
Yeah, so that was about the website, right?
Yep.
Why do I want to have a website?
When you have 400,000 followers on
Yeah.
Instagram. Why the website?
Because the audience is different and because I love writing. So I feel that those who want to learn about jewelry, they cannot learn enough from Instagram because it doesn't allow for really detailed explanation or description of a jewelry. For me, I love to talk about jewelry. I want to dig into details, and I know that there's lots of people out there who also feel the same way. These are two different platforms, and I connect with readers and Instagram followers in a different way. And I feel that also Instagram is a great tool, sorry, not Instagram, website, is a great tool to sell. I almost have like as many requests from articles as from Instagram page.
That's very interesting. That's very interesting. Okay. And Roberto, you've been in the industry for 10 years. How can a jewelry brand approach and involve each generation? We know jewelry brings generations together, but how do you and do you think about it on your own platform?
I mean, is there such a thing as different generation for jewelry? I think jewelry is for everybody, but I think to show appeal to different generation, you do campaign in a different way, right? More mature consumer is not going to like all the TikTok style accounts or content, and vice versa. You know, younger audience like something colorful, funky, interesting that appeals to them. So it's all about understanding your target audience and what they like, what their preferences are, where do they go, where do they live, what drives them, and then try to reflect in the campaign their tastes and their lifestyle.
That ties back into the last question. You know, you must speak to your audience where they're listening. And then you must speak to them in a way that they will continue to listen and can hear you. You speak to your son differently than you speak to your husband, right? So you speak to Instagram different than you speak to your website audience.
Guys, start thinking of your questions because I think we have like
You're
one
next.
left.
You're next. We have 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 6 minutes. Okay. 10 years, nobody would have guessed that this was going to be the case today. So what was your vision back then? Did you think you would just quietly type and no one would really show up?
Frankly, I didn't have a vision. I just did what I was passionate about. I just wanted this because I enjoyed it so much. If you asked me 10 years ago, did you think you'd be sitting on this stage? No. But I just did what I felt I enjoyed, and I did what I felt others enjoyed along with me, and I wanted to give them more pleasure and excitement of seeing beautiful jewelry, and this is where it brought me.
Right. I remember you in my boutique in Burlington Arcade, and you were actually re-merchandising the displays, and better than I could do myself. Let's see if we get one.
Maybe it's not the answer people expected, but at least it's honest.
It is, it is. Imagine you were a gemstone. Which one would you be and why?
Well, I wouldn't name any specific gemstone, but when it comes to gems, I like rare species. So if we talk about topaz, I would gravitate towards imperial topaz. If we talk about tourmalines, I go for Paraiba. I love ruby lights. Okay, let's say ruby light, because if you follow my Instagram, you see I love red color,
You do.
right? And my audience loves big ruby lights. This is what I've learned from my analytics. So let's say ruby light.
Let's say rubelite. Okay, let me see if there's one more of these, because we may have 1 minute for our...
And maybe we can have questions from the audience after, if we have them.
Yeah, great.
No.
Can I do a quick speed round first? I want to put Katerina through a speed round.
Oh my God, this is scary
I
because
didn't tell her any of these questions in advance, so let's just see. Okay, don't think about it. I know you're very transparent and authentic, so just say the first thing that pops into your head.
Okay, go on.
Diamonds or gemstones?
Gemstones.
One person you admire?
Ooh, Frida Kahlo.
Pardon?
Frida Kahlo.
Excellent. Okay, favorite movie?
The Tourist.
Most used app on your iPhone after Instagram?
VN. This is for reals, guys.
Pardon?
It's called
for reals.
VN, for reals, yeah.
That's a tip for all the reel makers. Ask her about it. Silver or gold?
Sorry?
Silver or gold?
Oh, gold, platinum.
Favorite smell?
Ooh, mimosa.
Profession that you would do other than your own?
I'd design handbags.
Favorite word?
Words. Passion.
Woo. Describe the rest of your life in 5 words.
Adventure, passion, exploring different cultures.
Explore.
Yeah,
2 more words.
build, and create.
Nice, nice. Now, I hope you've had enough time to create the questions that you would like to ask Katerina, if there are any. I see a lovely question in the back.
Microphone we need.
Are they? I'll repeat.
Oh, thank you all for being here. Microphone is coming.
Can I repeat the question? Or you? Okay,
Yeah, I think it's great.
It's a really good question.
Yeah.
Iris van der Becken, thank you very much. Excellent.
Okay, I'm going to say it one more time.
Yeah.
First of all, Katerina, thank you very much for telling your story and telling your story about passion and with so much love. So when we follow you and you show all these beautiful pieces and you write about it, it tells exactly the beauty, and jewelry is about art. Now, if we look at all the information, millennials, Gen Z, the alpha generation, we say they are very much conscious about the responsibility behind the brand and the story. And my question to you as an expert is, how do you believe in the coming decade the role of social media will play in telling that narrative on responsibility? Or is that absolutely not even part of the story, in the storytelling?
Social media is a great communication tool, right? And we see it in the way bloggers manage to help with the popularization of jewelry. So I think this is a very good question, because this is one of the important parts of the bloggers' work, to educate, and this is the subject which is being talked a lot about. And the more us, bloggers, talk about it, the more consumer asks about it. So I think this is the goal for the next 10 years. There is one project which I'm working on, which you'll know in the future, which is related to this. And I think this is something, again, to set the mark to start a more open conversation about it. The reason why I think bloggers is still staying away from it is because it's not my opinion, it's the opinion from people who I talk from the trade, that there is not yet very specific definitions of many terms, like traceability and transparency and all the important terms. So when they're really defined, I think there will be more talk about it. It just, you see, we also have to be careful of what we channel to everyone out there, because one wrong word and we'll be to blame when we don't mean bad.
Right,
So.
right. Very excellent question. I think we have time for only one more question. If there's another one in the audience, I see.
When there is more, people will come to the cocktail.
Yes, we must.
Yeah, we have cocktail right outside after this. So guys, please come. We'll chat.
Yes,
you can ask me more questions.
Absolutely.
Thank you for today and for a very interesting panel. I know that you have to talk about all the trends and everything that's going in jewelry. Are there trends that you don't like personally, or hate, or let's say don't agree with, but you have to talk about or promote?
All the brands? Sorry.
Trends.
Trends that I don't
that
like.
You don't like.
No, frankly, I'm the person who I would talk about things I enjoy. So if there's something I don't like, I just don't cover it.
What is one trend that you didn't like, let's say?
I think it's when you start. So no, actually no. This is the trend I did talk about. So I saw it at the red carpet. Cynthia Onrivo, I think this is the name of the actress. Sorry if I mispronounce. She wore completely mismatched ring on each of her finger. And for me, it was a cool stunt for the red carpet. But I like elegance, so, and she didn't wear it on one occasion. I think she wore it like 3 or 4 times. And then I started stalking different celebrities on Instagram and saw that they also do this. And I actually wrote the only maybe article where I criticized, saying that, guys, this is not tasteful when you put completely unmatched different rings on your fingers.
Thank you.
Good. And I think we will, do you have a question? Go.
Yes,
The last one for now, and then we'll go outside.
Sorry. In Davos, the topic is departed economies. So how do you think that this will affect our industry? Because the supply chain and sales chain is totally multinational.
What was the first
Yeah, I
sentence?
missed
I
the
didn't
first
hear.
one.
Davos summit?
Davos Summit. Okay.
What's the downside of?
And how does the Davos, could you repeat the question?
Sorry.
In the Davos topic is departed economies. So how this will affect our industry? Because the supply chain and sales chain is totally multinational. Like the polarization of the
Okay,
continent.
why don't you talk about this when we go for a cocktail?
Yeah.
I didn't get it. I'm very sorry.
I have a terrible ear for accents, so let's definitely take the question outside and we
Yes,
can...
of
Yeah,
course.
let's talk about it.
Please, everyone, join me in thanking Katerina for subjecting herself to any question that I chose to ask and for sharing so transparently with us, as she always does. And join us for cocktails.
Thank you. Yeah, let's go and celebrate. Not just 10 years,
Let's
but the jewelry
celebrate.
industry, huh?
Yes.
All things precious.
Oh, sure.
Oh, okay. Come. Woo!
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here.
We can go.
Let's go and celebrate.
See you outside.